According to the American Psychological Association, an analysis conducted by psychologist Steele found that 80 to 95% of college students procrastinate. So, if procrastination makes us stressed, lowers our grades, and creates unnecessary pressures, why do we keep doing it? As a student myself, procrastination is something I struggle with regularly. After researching the psychology behind it, I found that procrastination is much more than simply being lazy. Today, I will explain the psychology behind procrastination. Specifically, we'll discuss why people procrastinate, what happens in the brain when we procrastinate, and strategies that will help us overcome this behavior. So, why do we procrastinate? Procrastination is caused by poor emotional regulation. It's not about laziness, it's more like a coping strategy for your emotions. This makes sense because when a task makes us feel anxious, overwhelmed, frustrated, or bored, we want to avoid the task to avoid those feelings. We often know the consequences, but we still delay the task because it's unpleasant to us. Trust me, I'm a professional procrastinator. There will be times where I'd sit down at my desk, ready to start my homework, but I suddenly have the urge to rearrange my entire bedroom. This is often because the assignment feels like overwhelming, and rearranging my room just sounds way more relaxing and nicer at the time. But I do admit, avoiding it did make me feel better in the moment. But the stress got way worse as time was ticking until 11:59, so I don't recommend. But procrastination is like a temporary relief pill. Psychologist Timothy, who spent his career researching and writing about procrastination, says procrastination is not a time management problem, it's an emotional management problem. The unfinished task often creates more anxiety as deadlines get closer. So, if procrastination isn't about laziness, what causes people to do it? Our brain gets conflicted between in, immediate rewards and long-term goals. Our limbic system likes pleasure and avoids discomfort, which leads us to enjoy activities such as scrolling on TikTok over challenges like homework or chores, for example. Research suggests that procrastination is linked to struggles between the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex. Your prefrontal cortex is the one that helps us plan and make smart decisions based on logic. When a task feels unpleasant, emotional impulses from the limbic system can overpower the prefrontal cortex, leading to procrastination, for example. Imagine you have a big paper due next week, but so your prefrontal cortex knows that it's a smart idea to start now, which will reduce the stress later, but your limbic system sees a more rewarding option, which is to play video games. And because that reward is immediate, the limbic system always wins. The brain often associates procrastination with feeling better in short term, making the behavior more likely to happen again. Researchers describe procrastination as prioritizing short-term repair over long-term goals. Understanding what causes procrastination and what happens in the brain is important, but it also raises another question. If procrastination is such a natural response, how can we overcome it? Fortunately, psychologists have identified several strategies that can help us break down the cycle of procrastination and become more productive. First, you can break down larger tasks into small, manageable steps. As large projects can feel more overwhelming, smaller tasks make completing each task more achievable and less intimidating. For example, instead of telling yourself, I need to finish this project tonight, just simply start by opening a blank document, then writing the title, or at least finding one source. These small tasks make us feel less overwhelmed and helps us build momentum. It's also said by psychologist Timothy, who recommends focusing on simply getting started rather than completing an entire task, because if you just start, you'll eventually gain the momentum to finish. Number two is to reduce distractions. Social media and phones can distract you from your long-term goals in exchange for a couple minutes of short-term relief. Research published in the journal Cognition found that reducing distractions and creating specific plans for completing tasks can improve self-control and task completion. Number three, practice self-compassion, not self-criticism. When you procrastinate, what do you tell yourself? Many people say things like, I'm so lazy, or I always do this. But psychologist Fuchsia found that people who practice self-compassion are more likely or less likely to procrastinate because they are better at coping with setbacks and negative emotions. While procrastination may feel like a personal flaw, psychology shows that it's actually a complex behavior influenced by our emotions and brain processes. By understanding why it happens and applying these strategies effectively, we can learn to manage procrastination more successfully. Remember, procrastination is not simply a problem of laziness. It's a battle between our emotions, our brains, and our long-term goals. So next time you find yourself putting off an assignment, ask yourself, am I avoiding the task or am I avoiding the feelings attached to this task? Thank you.